Hollywood, a land of dreams and a graveyard of secrets. For every fairy tale romance we see on the silver screen, there's often a darker, more passionate, and sometimes devastating story hidden from the public eye. We're not talking about simple flings. We're talking about seismic events that shattered marriages, destroyed reputations, and created legends. From the golden age secrets the studios tried to bury to the modern scandals that broke the internet, we are counting down the most shocking affairs in Hollywood history. These illicit romances left a trail of heartbreak and tabloid headlines. Before we start, make sure you're subscribed and hit that notification bell so you never miss a look into Hollywood's juiciest secrets. And let us know in the comments which scandal you think is the most shocking of all time. In the early 1990s, Kenneth Branagh and Emma Thompson were the golden couple of the British film industry. A powerhouse of talent, they were celebrated for their artistic collaborations and seemingly perfect marriage, which began in 1989. They were theater royalty who had conquered Hollywood, a partnership audiences adored. But behind the curtain, their relationship wasn't so perfect. Thompson herself later said they were like mating lobsters, we clashed claws. That perfect image shattered in 1994 on the set of Mary Shelley's Frankenstein. Branagh, who was directing and starring, cast Helena Bonham Carter as his character's love interest, and their on-screen fiction bled into a real-life affair. For Emma Thompson, the betrayal was a blindsiding devastation. She would later confess she was utterly blind to the fact that he had relationships with other women on set. The revelation left her feeling half alive, and as though any sense of being a lovable or worthy person had gone completely. The affair became public, and Branagh and Thompson announced their separation in 1995, citing conflicting work schedules, a classic Hollywood excuse for a much deeper problem. Branagh and Bonham Carter continued their relationship for 5 years. The scandal was a painful, public dissection of a beloved couple, with Thompson channeling her heartbreak into one of her most iconic roles. She later revealed that the devastating scene in Love Actually, where her character discovers her husband's infidelity, was drawn directly from the raw pain she experienced. The three actors have since made peace, with Thompson stating it's all blood under the bridge, and that she and Bonham Carter are friends. But for a time, this affair was a stark reminder that even the most admired unions can hide shocking secrets. In 2012, Kristen Stewart was at the peak of her global fame. As Bella Swan in the Twilight Saga, she was one half of a cinematic and real-life super couple with her co-star Robert Pattinson. Their relationship was an obsession for an entire generation, the fairy tale ending to a multi-billion-dollar franchise. Stewart and Pattinson were intensely private, but their every move was tracked, their romance a cornerstone of the Twilight phenomenon. This carefully constructed world came crashing down during the production of Snow White and the Huntsman. Stewart, then 22, was photographed in a series of intimate embraces with the film's director, Rupert Sanders, a married 1-year-old with 2 children. The images were undeniable and explosive. The internet erupted. The fairy tale was over. The backlash was immediate and immense, fueled by a sense of betrayal from a fan base deeply invested in her relationship with Pattinson. The scandal even caught the attention of Donald Trump, who repeatedly tweeted that Pattinson should not take her back. The fallout was swift and brutal. Both Stewart and Sanders issued public apologies. Stewart's was a raw plea, stating, "I'm deeply sorry for the hurt and embarrassment I've caused. This momentary indiscretion has jeopardized the most important thing in my life, the person I love and respect the most, Rob. I love him, I'm so sorry." Sanders called it a momentary lapse and expressed devastation at hurting his family. The apologies did little to stop the media firestorm. Stewart and Pattinson's relationship ended, as did Sanders' marriage to model Liberty Ross. Years later, Stewart would clarify that while she deeply regretted the pain it caused, she did not feck him. The affair remains a classic example of a modern celebrity scandal, demonstrating the ferocious power of paparazzi, social media, and a global fan base scorned. In the mid-2000s, Jude Law and Sienna Miller were the ultimate bohemian chic it couple. They met on the set of the 2004 film Alfie, got engaged on Christmas Day of that year, and became tabloid royalty, celebrated for their style and electrifying chemistry. They were the stunning, impossibly cool British couple that everyone was watching. But in July 2005, their romance imploded in the most public and humiliating way possible. Daisy Wright, the nanny for Law's children from his previous marriage, went to the press. She sold her story to the Sunday Mirror, complete with detailed diary excerpts cataloging her sexual encounters with the actor. The story was that one of Law's own children had discovered them in bed together, which led to the nanny's dismissal and her subsequent tell-all. The betrayal wasn't just private, it was a global headline. The scandal was a nightmare for Sienna Miller, who was just 23 and starring in a West End play at the time. She later described it as one of the most challenging moments of her life, having to face 800 people on stage every night while dealing with that level of public heartbreak. Jude Law issued a public apology, stating, "There is no defense for my actions, which I sincerely regret, and I ask that you respect our privacy at this very difficult time." But privacy was impossible. The couple broke off their engagement, though they would briefly reunite years later before splitting for good. The affair became a defining scandal of the decade, a cautionary tale that turned a private heartbreak into a worldwide media spectacle. Today, Humphrey Bogart and Lauren Bacall are remembered as one of old Hollywood's most legendary couples, the epitome of cool, smoldering romance. But their love story was born from a scandalous affair that defied a powerful director, ended a volatile marriage, and bridged a 5-year age gap. In 1944, a 19-year-old former model named Lauren Bacall was cast in her very first film, To Have and Have Not, opposite the 44-year-old superstar Humphrey Bogart. Bogart was, at the time, trapped in a notoriously turbulent marriage to his third wife, actress Mayo Methot. Their relationship was so violent and alcohol-fueled, they were known around town as the Battling Bogarts. The movie set became an escape for Bogart, and the chemistry between him and the young Bacall was immediate and undeniable. He nicknamed her Baby, and their on-screen heat was so palpable that the script was rewritten to expand her part, just to capitalize on the real-life sparks. Their romance blossomed in secret, hidden from Bogart's wife and their disapproving director, but a secret like that couldn't be contained. Bogart would eventually divorce Methot and marry Bacall in 1945, just a year after their film was released. Though it started as a scandal, their connection proved to be profound and enduring. They remained married until Bogart's death in 1957, starring in 4 films together and creating a legacy as one of Hollywood's greatest ever pairings. Theirs is a rare story where an affair that began in the shadows grew into a true and lasting love that became the stuff of legend. In the early 2000s, Brad Pitt and Jennifer Aniston were Hollywood's ultimate golden couple. He was one of the biggest movie stars on the planet, and she was America's sweetheart from the hit sitcom Friends. Their marriage in 2000 was a fairy tale event, and they were universally adored, the picture-perfect ideal of Hollywood romance. That perfect picture shattered in 2004 on the set of Mr. and Mrs. Smith. Pitt was cast opposite Angelina Jolie, an actress known for her talent, beauty, and a certain dangerous allure. Rumors of an on-set romance began to swirl almost immediately. Their chemistry was undeniable, and the press became obsessed with the possibility that the on-screen story of 2 married assassins falling in love was happening in real life. Though both initially denied any infidelity, the speculation reached a fever pitch. In January 2005, Pitt and Aniston announced their separation. Just a few months later, photos emerged of Pitt, Jolie, and her adopted son Maddox on a beach in Kenya, looking very much like a family. The images confirmed what the world had suspected and ignited a media firestorm. The term Brangelina was born, and the world was divided into Team Aniston and Team Jolie. The affair marked the end of one of Hollywood's most beloved marriages and the beginning of one of its most powerful and scrutinized super couples. Pitt and Jolie would go on to have a long relationship, raising 6 children and eventually marrying in 2014. While their own union later dissolved in a highly public split, the affair that started it all remains one of the scandals that didn't just make headlines, it changed pop culture. For 26 years, it was Hollywood's most public secret. Spencer Tracy and Katharine Hepburn were one of the screen's most beloved pairings, their witty, intelligent chemistry lighting up 9 films together, beginning with 1942's Woman of the Year. To audiences, they were a perfect match. In reality, their love was just as deep, but it was a love that could never be fully acknowledged. When they met, Tracy was a devout Catholic, married to a woman named Louise Treadwell. Though they had been estranged for years, he refused to seek a divorce, burdened by his faith and a sense of guilt. Hepburn, a fiercely independent and unconventional woman, accepted these terms. She fell deeply in love with him and committed herself to a life lived in the shadows of his marriage. Their affair was an open secret in their circle. Fellow actors, studio heads, and friends all conspired to keep it from the public. They never arrived at events together, kept separate homes, and took great care to manage their hidden life. Hepburn was utterly devoted to Tracy, a troubled man who battled alcoholism and depression. She became his caretaker, his anchor, and his most loyal companion. In his final years, she put her own career on hold and moved in to care for him around the clock. He died in 1967, just 17 days after filming his final scene in their last movie together, Guess Who's Coming to Dinner. Out of respect for his family, Katharine Hepburn did not attend his funeral. She only spoke publicly about their decades-long love affair after Tracy's wife passed away in 1983. Theirs wasn't a fleeting passion, but a profound, lifelong commitment that endured for over a quarter of a century in the quiet spaces, a love as real as any marriage, even if it was never official. In the late 1940s, Ingrid Bergman wasn't just a movie star. She was a saint. With roles in classics like Casablanca and Joan of Arc, the Swedish actress had cultivated an image of wholesome purity. She was a beloved Hollywood icon, a devoted wife to her husband, Dr. Petter Lindström, and a loving mother. This saintly image was completely demolished in 1949. A huge admirer of his films, Bergman wrote to Italian director Roberto Rossellini, saying she wanted to work with him. This led to her being cast in his film Stromboli. During production in Italy, their professional collaboration quickly ignited into a passionate, all-consuming affair. Both were married at the time, but the real scandal erupted when Bergman became pregnant with Rossellini's child. The backlash was international and vicious. Bergman, the on-screen saint, was now branded an adulteress. The moral outrage was so intense that she was denounced on the floor of the US. Senate as a powerful influence for evil. She was effectively exiled from Hollywood, unable to work in America for 7 years. The affair destroyed her marriage and, for a time, her career. The scandal marked a brutal collision between a star's public image and her private life. Though Bergman would eventually make a triumphant return to Hollywood and win another Oscar, her affair with Rossellini remains a powerful example of how quickly the public can turn on its idols. This scandal was a secret so profound and fiercely guarded that the truth stayed buried for nearly 60 years. In 1935, Hollywood's undisputed king, Clark Gable, and the beautiful, devoutly Catholic actress Loretta Young starred together in The Call of the Wild. Gable was married, Young was single. During the production, an encounter occurred that would change their lives forever. Young became pregnant. In the iron-fisted studio era of the 1930s, an out-of-wedlock child between a married superstar and an unmarried Catholic starlet was an unthinkable scandal that would have destroyed both of their careers. To protect themselves, they concocted an elaborate deception. Young disappeared from public view, claiming an illness that required a long recuperation. In reality, she gave birth to a baby girl in secret. That child, named Judy, was then placed in an orphanage. 19 months later, in a stunningly audacious move, Loretta Young publicly announced she was adopting a child who was, of course, her own biological daughter. The story was supported by powerful gossip columnists, and the secret was sealed. Judy Lewis grew up as the adopted daughter of Loretta Young, never knowing that the king of Hollywood was her father. Though it was a widely whispered rumor, Young didn't admit the truth to her daughter until Judy was an adult and confronted her. Gable met his daughter only once, a brief encounter when she was 15, where the truth was never mentioned. Judy Lewis finally told her own story in a 1994 autobiography, confirming one of the Golden Age's most tragic and enduring secrets. In the late 1950s, no couple was more beloved than America's sweethearts, Debbie Reynolds and singer Eddie Fisher. They were a picture-perfect Hollywood family, and they were best friends with the equally famous couple Elizabeth Taylor and producer Mike Todd. When Taylor and Todd got married, Fisher was the best man, and Reynolds was the matron of honor. Their lives were completely intertwined. This idyllic friendship was first shattered by tragedy, then obliterated by betrayal. In 1958, Mike Todd died in a plane crash, leaving Elizabeth a devastated widow. In a gesture of friendship, Debbie sent her husband Eddie to comfort Elizabeth. That comfort soon morphed into something else. The affair was discovered in a moment straight out of a movie. Reynolds, unable to reach her husband on tour, called his hotel room and got no answer. She then called Elizabeth Taylor's room. Eddie Fisher answered the phone. The secret was out, and the scandal was one of the biggest in Hollywood history. Eddie Fisher left his wife and 2 young children, including a baby, Carrie Fisher, to marry his late best friend's widow. The public was aghast. Fisher, once a popular singer, saw his career tank as he was branded a deserter. Taylor was cast as a home-wrecking vamp. Reynolds, the wronged wife, became an object of immense public sympathy. Though Taylor would later say she never truly loved Fisher, the affair demolished a friendship and created one of the most notorious love triangles the world had ever seen. Incredibly, Reynolds and Taylor would reconcile years later, but the scandal remains a legendary tale of love, loss, and betrayal. If one affair could define the sheer earth-shattering power of celebrity scandal, it is the explosive romance between Elizabeth Taylor and Richard Burton. Dubbed Le Scandale by the press, their affair wasn't just a headline. It was a global phenomenon that was condemned by the Vatican, captivated the world, and created a legend that still burns brightly today. It all began in 1962, on the set of the epic Cleopatra. Elizabeth Taylor, already infamous for the love triangle with Eddie Fisher, was the world's biggest star, playing Cleopatra. Richard Burton, a respected Welsh stage actor with a reputation as a womanizer, played Mark Antony. Both were married, Taylor to Fisher, and Burton to his wife, Sybil Williams. Their on-screen chemistry was electric, and it didn't take long to ignite off-screen. An on-set kiss reportedly went on far longer than the director called for, and soon their passion was an open secret. The affair became public when paparazzi captured photos of them kissing on a yacht, and the world went into a frenzy. The story was so huge, it bumped astronaut John Glenn's Orbit of the Earth off some front pages. The Vatican's official newspaper published a piece denouncing their erotic vagrancy. The scandal was monumental. They eventually divorced their spouses and married each other on the 15th of March, 1964, just 10 days after Taylor's divorce from Fisher was finalized. Their relationship was a tempest of passion, fueled by alcohol, vicious fights, and extravagant gifts. They would divorce in 1974, remarry in 1975, and divorce again for good in 1976. It was more than an affair. It was a cultural event that redefined fame and scandal, a fiery romance that truly shook the world. From the carefully guarded secrets of the Golden Age to the social media explosions of today, one thing is constant. Love in Hollywood is often a battlefield. These stories of passion, betrayal, and heartbreak are woven into the fabric of cinema history, reminding us that behind the glamorous facade, the human heart is as wild and unpredictable as ever. The consequences were often devastating, but the legends they created are eternal. Which Hollywood affair do you think is the most scandalous of all time? Did we miss one that shocked you? Let us know in the comments below. And if you enjoyed this look into Hollywood's hidden history, don't forget to like this video and subscribe for more stories the studios never wanted you to know. Thanks for watching.